I'm Charles Ludlow. I'm back with another video. In this video, I thought, it might be worth testing out Windows 11 Home, which is probably the more likely addition. Either Windows 11 Home or Windows 11 Pro are going to be the more likely additions that people are going to be dealing with, right? I understand a lot of people don't work in enterprise environments where you're dealing with specific SKUs of Windows. So in this video, we're going to be kind of comparing against the results I got previously and also trying it out with consumer Windows. Um, I am using this media here for my testing. Um, I don't know, at some point I might try this with a Windows USB key, but that'd mean I'd have to buy Windows, which kind of sucks because that's not usually how I license Windows. I don't know. I may try it out with a real USB key. At some point, I'm gonna set this up with two capture cards and do this on identical hardware just to see if it makes a difference. Anyway, with that out of the way, we're gonna spin up our next VM, and I am gonna run these sequentially. Rather than side by side because I do think it made a slight bit of difference. It did make more difference for the classic setup than it did for the new setup. The new setup only came in a second faster, which is well within margin of error. So we will use consumer editions and give this a try. Same thing, we're going to give it a TPM and secure boot. I am going to give it four virtual processors or threads, however you want to call that. No automatic checkpoints, and there's no need to start it. And you can just turn it off. Perfect. All right, here we go. Did I hit it in time? I did get it in time. Perfect. Unlike before, we'll advance it all the way to the final confirmation menu. We agree that everything will be deleted. Oh, well, we'll just skip the product key for now. I don't really want to tie up an activation for this one. So, okay, perfect. We can just skip. We'll select Windows 11 Home. And there's the legal agreement. It does feel a little bit slower than the other setup, but that could just be me. Is it gonna go ahead and just do it? No. Okay. And go. I think the biggest thing that this media changes is the fact that it makes it look like it's making more progress than it did before. But if it holds up like the enterprise media did, it's not going to be any faster. I'm going to go ahead and mute the mic, and I will come back to you when we're ready to advance to the next stage. Setup got away from me there, but it's going on. We're already at 3 minutes 15 seconds here. We'll see. I find this absolutely fascinating. I would love if somebody at Microsoft uh, could tell us more about um, why the change in Windows setup. Is it just a visual thing? Is it actually a it does it actually have something to do with Windows and the way it's dealing with its image files now? I'm gonna pause again. Looks like it's just gonna keep going here. All right, I think we might be coming to the end. Maybe. Wow. This is really interesting, folks. What I find interesting about this particular version of Windows setup is that the Home Edition, which I kind of expected it to take a longer period of time. I thought, oh, it's going to need 20, 30 seconds or whatever. But the Home Edition's really taken a while to complete. Of course, we are in software graphics and Hyper-V, so we don't have. And there we go. 6 minutes and 34 seconds. Wow, that is an interesting result. All right, we'll go ahead and reset this clock, shut this machine down here, and go ahead and build out our new one here. Again, exact same setup as before, 8 gigs of RAM, connect it to the internet. And again, we'll enable the TPM for it, give it 4 cores, disable time sync, enable guest services, disable automatic checkpoints, do nothing, and turn it off. Okay. And close out of that, and we will give it a go. Oopsies, there we go. I am actually glad though to see that they have placed that classic setup option in in consumer Windows. I was honestly kind of worried they might have decided to remove that out of Windows. And we can still say I don't have a product key. We can select Windows 11 Home. And we'll hit next. Okay. Up. All right. I may have given it a 1 or 2 second advantage. If the times are close, we'll add 10 seconds to it, but something tells me that the times aren't even going to be close enough to worry about. I'm kind of just in autopilot mode, honestly, with Windows setup. Um, wow. This is incredible to me, to watch this go. That new setup seems to introduce a third phase to the setup mode, whereas this is kind of a two-phase deal. It's this phase, and then it goes through and sets up devices, and then it reboots again, and then the third reboot, you're into Windows. Wow, look at this thing go. This is something else. We're already at 93% of the way through phase one, and phase two is generally a fairly short process. I don't even think our times are going to be close with that new setup. I think we're going to be in that 3 minute 45 second range for sure. And just like in my previous tests, I will not be giving it the advantage of user input, so I'm going to let it sit through this 10-second thing. So remember, if you were doing this, you could obviously click restart now and save yourself 8, 9, 10 seconds on the clock there. I don't even have to pause the recording. This is incredible. We're already in phase two. 2 minutes, 15 seconds. We're getting through phase two here. I think it's gonna come out right with that classic setup there. From my previous enterprise run. I don't know. I might have to do like 5 or 10 of these on real hardware. I was thinking I'd just do 1 or 2, but man, honestly, from what I'm seeing, I don't know. I'm definitely curious about consistency on this. Well, maybe it's gonna take a little bit longer. It's This home edition, obviously, as you might expect, the home edition is gonna pack a lot more apps and stuff out of box than the enterprise editions do, because the enterprise editions generally don't come with anything more than the bare minimum, absolute bare minimum that they need. Wow. Yep, definitely classic setup's going to take longer. Interesting. It's going to take longer than enterprise, but so did our new setup. So this getting ready stage is taking a little bit longer. Probably give it another minute here, and then I might just pause my voice until we get to the end of this. Still, regardless of which method you choose, Windows setup has gotten extremely fast. Now, this is being done on NVMe, on an NVMe SSD, which may make a slight difference, but any old SSD with a decent DRAM cache should be fine. Okay, we've exited phase two, and we're going to go into phase three now, which is I guess, reboot three technically, because there won't be a phase three of setup. It'll drop us right at the thing. Wow, is it? Oh, this is going to be tight. Interesting. Oh, we're at just a moment. I'm gonna have to redo this with Pro now. This is so interesting. Come on, Windows, you can do it. Oh, it's gonna be slower than the new setup on Enterprise. Wow. And there it is, folks. 5 minutes, 14 seconds, even on the Home Edition. Classic setup wins. You know what? Let's just shut these down. I'm gonna go ahead and just do it. I'm just gonna do Pro. I am super curious about Professional now. I am genuinely curious about Pro now. So we're just gonna rerun this whole thing with Pro here. 8 gig of RAM. I'm curious to know if Pro can um can outdo Home. I think it will because I think there's less bulk in Pro than there is in the Home Edition. But I don't honestly I really don't know, you guys. I don't run, like I'm still running Windows 10 Enterprise LTSC 2021, so it's and before that I honestly ran 7. It was let's see, consumer editions, same thing. 4, uncheck, check. I'm getting really good at getting through this thing. Okay, here we go. Let's run Pro with the new setup and see how it does. Hopefully I'll be able to figure out how to do the chapter markers. I know that this probably isn't the most entertaining thing to watch, but I wanted to leave these videos unedited to show you guys what's going. Whoopsies. I'm not used to this new setup yet. It's funny, it still retains the Windows 7 border, it looks like to me. This looks like a non-Aero Windows 7 border to me. Alright, Windows 11 Pro is our selected SKU. We'll accept the license terms. One thing we can look at real quick just for fun. Interesting. Wow. 5 and 6. Oh, wow. Um, hmm. Let's see. 5 would have been new setup, right? Odds are new setup. This is very interesting to me. Look at this. It's written about 13 gigabytes on the classic setup, and it's written about 17 on the new setup. Just some very interesting data there. Um, okay, I'm gonna try to do this right this time. Okay. And I know this one does take longer, so I am going to mute the mic while I wait for it to complete its setup. All right, we're about to enter phase 3 of the setup wizard here. Wow, we are going to be right on track with the with Windows 11 Home, it looks like. Maybe just a teeny tad bit faster. I'm sure there's a few things excluded. Maybe not. Maybe there's not below excluded from Pro. Wait, is Pro actually going to take longer? Just by a couple of seconds. And it's loaded. 41 seconds. I don't know. That's within a few seconds. That could very easily be margin of error. Um, I'm not. I'm gonna say those are pretty much neck and neck on their on their run times. I'm gonna say those are pretty much neck and neck. 6 minutes 41 seconds, folks, for Windows 11 Pro. It's amazing how Microsoft can add bulk to these operating systems. Gen 2. Sure, Microsoft's probably not thrilled I'm doing this, but I think it's important to understand the differences now. I know probably the bulk of the people watching my videos are not going to be enterprise customers, but you know, if you're in a big IT department, I would say it's very much worth looking at licensing enterprise LTSC because this shows why. I mean, even in basic setup, let's not talk about how clean the operating system is comparatively. I do intend to make a video at some point with a more exploratory look at the operating system, but we'll do nothing and we'll turn it off, right? I think I got all those good. And I always start with clean VMs. That way we can see stuff like disk sizes and stuff as they're provisioned. We'll go to the previous version of setup. If anybody's on the Microsoft development team watching this, why? What is the difference? What does the new setup get the user? I am genuinely curious to know what the new setup gets the user. Okay, we'll try to do this pretty fair. I'm just genuinely curious what the user gets out of the new setup. What does it do? You know, I'm wondering if it's doing updates or something. I am definitely would be curious to know if it's doing updates in the background. It is networked. I suppose I might have to rerun these tests with them non-networked. They are connected directly to an internet connection. The only thing that sits between them is a pfSense router, but there's not really anything else there. So they are networked machines. So it's possible that the new version of setup allows it to go get updates. But this is brand new media. The only updates that are going to be available are the current definitions for Windows Defender and the current malicious software removal tool, which I have actually shown off in a previous video. And that will be the case at least probably for another few weeks. I don't think we're going to get an October cumulative update for 24H2, but we might. I'm not really sure what their plan is there. And the same thing as last time, man. By 2 minutes, the operating system's already looks like it's gonna fall into phase 2 again. This is incredible to watch. I'm gonna go ahead and pause my well, maybe it might not have to. Wow. Oh, this is amazing to watch. I don't ever remember Windows sitting on installing updates, so I'm genuinely curious if it's installing updates right now during that part. I don't know. Maybe I might have to revisit older versions of setup. Um, and like previous attempts, not going to hit anything, just going to pretend that the machine's unattended, other than moving the window around when it refreshes its resolution and doesn't fix itself. That time it did okay. And it's starting services. I'll go ahead and pause my mic here since it took a little while last time. All right, we're getting to those final few seconds of setup here. We'll see how it does. We're at just a moment, and we're definitely ahead this time. Or maybe not. We might still land at 514 again. I think we're going to be pretty much margin of error here on 11 home versus pro. 5 minutes, 11 seconds. I definitely say that's within margin of error. But nonetheless, there is no margin of error on new versus old. You're definitely better off with the classic setup. So thank you for watching this video. I'm sure most people didn't watch it all the way through, but if you did, thanks for watching. It's very interesting seeing these changes Microsoft makes. I hope you enjoyed, and I'll see you in the next one.